Walt Disney's dreams, drive, and dedication to the challenge of combining technology and design into stories to create entertainment continues to influence us and inspire all of us, from CEO Michael Eisner on down, and what we do every day. Walt also adopted the term Imagineering. Imagineering is best defined as a blend of creative imagination and technical know-how. WED thus came even before TED, but the elements are much the same. What kind of vision did those early Imagineers have? I invite you to watch these few seconds of videotape made from a kinescope film that in turn was made from a very early Disney TV show in 1954. Here's Walt explaining one feature that will be in the Tomorrowland part of his new theme park.
Now our third realm is Tomorrowland. Ever since the invention of the bow and arrow, mankind has both worried and been fascinated by the forward march of science. Today, with the recent discovery of tremendous natural forces and their harnessing to man's use, man is still anxious, yet still hopeful. In the programs to come from Tomorrowland, we plan to explore these forces and their use, to find some measure of understanding about the things that lie before us.
At Imagineering, our creative sessions, whether they're held in conference rooms, hallways, or even restrooms, or once a week at a company-wide breakfast meeting, all ideas are good ideas. Everyone from the newest employee to the CEO of the whole company knows they won't get stomped on for bringing up a seemingly silly or impossible idea. To maintain and nurture this kind of atmosphere, we've developed a bunch of rather informal precepts gained from experience and, yes, inherited from that genius who started all of this. Over the years, this list of precepts has grown to where someone has irreverently, or maybe even reverently, called them Mickey's 10 Commandments, named in honor of an old friend who helped us develop them beginning at Disneyland more than 30 years ago. Number one is the most important and possibly the one most violated. Know your audience. We've even violated this ourselves from time to time, to our great regret. Case in point, for the opening of Epcot Center now nearly 10 years ago, we thought we ought to have a show about computers. Some of you may recall what was happening in the computer business in the early 1980s. By the time we got our fancy show together, every 10-year-old in the audience knew more about computers than what we were trying to say. We pulled that first show within a year and tried again. Now, if you're really going to get to know your audience, try to remember Mickey's second commandment: wear your guest shoes. That is, don't forget the human factor. I remember after Disneyland opened, Walt Disney would put on old work clothes and a broad-brimmed hat so he could discreetly go through the park as a visitor would. It's amazing how much you can learn from this simple exercise. Here's commandment number 3. Organize the flow of people and ideas. There are many ways to organize your presentation, but I think you'll find, most of all, people respond to experiences that unfold in sequenced, organized ways, the way a good story develops. After all, storytelling was one of humankind's basic and earliest methods of effective communication, and one of the first ways we learned about the world as children. More on that later from our other presenters. Now, in the interest of time, and also to obey commandment number 4, avoid overload, create turn-ons, I'm going to simply highlight the remainder of Mickey's 10 Commandments. Number 5, communicate with visual literacy. Many of us are print-oriented and often forget something well known to artists. There is a common language we all respond to, a language of color, shape, and form. It's your most powerful communication tool. Number 6, tell one story at a time. Number 7, avoid contradictions, maintain identity. Number 8, and this is one we really work on for the Disney parks, for every ounce of treatment, create a ton of treat. Number 9, keep it up, maintain it. Never get complacent or let things run down. Number 10, create a weenie. Now, a weenie was the term Walt Disney used for what you might call a visual magnet. In planning traffic flow at the parks, for example, he realized that it wasn't enough just to make it easy for people to get through an area. You needed to actually use visual cues to keep them moving toward a predetermined point. At Disneyland, for example, Main Street is the entrance corridor, but Sleeping Beauty's castle is the weenie that pulls people from the entrance into the heart of the park. You might say we seem to have a thing about castles, and keeping that in mind, now that the time has come for me to introduce some of my colleagues, it occurred to me that I should make them feel right at home. As president of Walt Disney Imagineering, I'm supposed to be endowed with certain mystical powers, maybe mythical would be the better word. Anyway, to make my friends feel comfortable, all I have to do is murmur a brief incantation, say, Imagineers, give me a castle, and clap. And there we are. Wait. No, that's not the castle I had in mind. I mean, I'll admit it looks like the place we work down in Glendale. But can't we have something a little more inspirational, please? Look, I'll snap my fingers or clap my hands again. Let's try another one. Now, one of the outstanding castle-in-the-sky builders and storytellers in our organization is a guy named Tony Baxter. Tony started at Disneyland as a sweeper and ice cream scooper. He dreamed up an idea for an attraction and used it to sell himself to Walt Disney Imagineering.
The way we look, though, at the letters TED, I don't know, I feel that there's something missing, and I think Marty hinted at it earlier. I think there needs to be an S on that, and that S really stands for story. Walt Disney recognized at the very beginning that our form of entertainment, when you really get right down to it, is storytelling. I'm going to talk to you today with 3 examples of shows that express this ability. The first is a very simple little show. In fact, simplicity is its key. It was the introduction of audiometronics, the Enchanted Tiki Room at Disneyland, and this marriage has existed for nearly 30 years between technology and entertainment, and it's still delighting audiences to this day.
Ole! Ole! It's showtime!
In the tiki room, in the tiki room.
All the birds sing words and the flowers croon.
In the tiki room.
Welcome to our tropical hideaway, you lucky people, you.
The second case is a much more sophisticated show, Pirates of the Caribbean. It introduced human-like performances to Disneyland for the first time back in 1967. And because of its sophistication, it requires a lot more adjustment and continued doting over than, say, the Tiki Room.
What be I offered for this winsome wench? Shift your cargo, dearie. Show 'em your larboard side.
We watch the ready.
Strike your colors, you brazen wench. No need to expose your superstructure. I'm not sponging for rum. It be gold I'm after.
Hello down there. If you're looking for me, I'm up here. I thought you could see me better. Our next speaker is the youngest of our senior vice presidents, Bob Weis.
To look at how we combine architecture, design, and entertainment, let me use some examples from our new Disney MGM studios in Florida. I think everyone in this room would agree that one of the functions that a building does not have is to collapse on top of its audience in the middle of a show. And so normally as designers we try to make people safe and comfortable in public places. Occasionally we get the opportunity to do just the opposite. Here's a brief clip to illustrate my point. If you can make the kids cry, they give you a bonus.
The Imagineering of the attraction called for scenes that could bowl over the audience 10 times a day.
We've got steam starts rising out of the set, and then just shortly after that, this whole face just explodes. Not quite like this. And this big ball comes rolling out here. At this point, this is already sunk down, and Indiana Jones turns and runs away from the ball.
The attraction was extensively tested, from storyboards to full-scale mock-ups.
My concept, which I developed with Bob McDonald, was to just do it like it really is, a real live ball. There's nothing simpler, there's nothing easier, just no maintenance problems, works every time. Gravity still works all around the Earth, even in Florida.
Some of you might assume that I've moved over here because the view is better. But our next speaker would likely suggest it's because a moving target is harder to hit. Craig Wilson is our resident deflator of egos and pomposity. Politely, we might call him our breath of fresh air, accent on fresh.
How are you doing? You got your announcements there? You ready? That's it. It's right there. It's high touch. It's the human technology. It's live actors being used. When we were talking about putting the anatomical players in the Wonders of Life Pavilion, along with a ride that would be another simulator ride, this time through the human body, and the film about birth, and the multimedia presentation of Cranium Command. We were talking with our board of advisors, some of the top medical professionals in the country. And I said to Norman Cousins, I said, you know, we're going to try something. We don't know if it works. It's really edgy. We're going to try to use actual human beings to entertain other actual human beings. For years, guests have gone to our parks and enjoyed them. And we can put you on a pirate ship and fly you over Peter Pan's London. And we can make you cry. That's my favorite ride in all the parks, all of our mountains notwithstanding. We can make you laugh. We can make you clap along with the kids of the kingdom, and you go up and you hug one of our characters. But the human technology is the opportunity for you to go as a guest and meet the people, the characters of Disneyland, and to leave part of you there for us.
Send in the wardrobe, Crocker. Should we send in the wardrobe?
The characters give life to buildings. We've always done very well at Disney, and specifically at Imagineering, creating places that have a great look. But now we give those places really a life.
Well, hi, how are you? I'm Sid Kawenga. This is my shop here. We call it the one-of-a-kind shop.
I've still got a little anxiety because I want to see it all blown out. And I know that the actors, though we've trained them, it takes them a few days to see that the little tricks and the rules of doing street theater really do work. To trust those rules because they're different than some of the things, some of the rules they've played by in traditional theater.
Come clearly. Do it like this. Go up and down and breathe from your diaphragm while you're doing it. That'll help. Come on. Like breathe from here. Up and down, up and down. If a doctor...
sitting on a seesaw.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to our next...
Excuse me, but I'd really like to make this introduction myself.
But you are doing it. You are I, and I am right over here doing it. So are you.
That may be, but I feel a lot more like being me over here than I do like being you over there or over here.
Maybe you understand what you're saying. I certainly don't. But if you want to hog the spotlight, I'll just dissolve right out of here.
I wanted to be a little more personal about this introduction because Mickey Steinberg is just about the most competent and able associate I've had during my 35 years with Disney.
All of what we do must be told in terms of a story that people can relate to and understand. The Disney secret, if there is one, is creating entertainment that makes a match with people, with their bodies, with their minds, with their deep down desires, and with their hearts. Some philosophers, far more intellectual than I am, will say that seeking to please and astonish millions and millions of people, people representing the vastness and breadth of human culture and backgrounds from around the world, is seeking the impossible. Impossible? Maybe so. But others here this afternoon haven't hesitated to quote Walt Disney. So why should I? Okay, one short sentence. Walt said, "It's kind of fun to do the impossible."
As we hope you've gathered from our presentations, we like to think of ourselves as a pretty up-to-date outfit. So I'm going to snap my fingers again. Gentlemen, give me something more modern.